I gave it a 9 or something.
Whatever, dude. Yeah, but still,
Oh.
All right.
What do you got?
New deluxe edition Black Sabbath CD.
Oh, that's got a live recording with Ray
Gillen,
right?
and this has the live at Hammersmith with Theo.
I've got both of those. I've got both of those, and anyone who doesn't like them, well, they suck. Anyway, Wayne, do your thing.
Anybody who doesn't like those sucks. What else did you get? Anything else?
If you don't chew Big Red, then fuck you.
No, just that. But someone kind enough did get my daughter a Larry the Lobster sprinkler for her birthday. So thank you, Wayne. That was really sweet of you.
Did she like that?
She loved it. She was outside playing for like all morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I saw that
if
thing.
you got me a Larry the Lobster sprinkler set, I'd be outside right now.
Yeah, I know, right?
It goes for anybody. And you're in Florida. It must be freaking hotter than hell there.
It's hotter than hell.
It's hotter than 2 rats fucking in a wool sock.
Ill.
All right.
And on that note,
Man, we got the intro.
It's time for Red Salad Review with your hosts, Wayne Moon, Greg Narlow, and Lou Max.
My God, that creepy introduction. All right.
They're
is it
so
creepy?
lifelike.
why
What
is
do
it
you mean
creepy?
you guys are fucking.
We're not
puppets.
fucking. Why you don't tell people we're fucking?
I thought this was a family show. Oh, there goes monetization. Oh, well.
Oh, there. Yeah,
shit.
where we went. Sorry, Wade. I just.
So we got a
cost you those
Patreon
10
coming up.
cents.
Welcome to Rat Cell Review. My name is
Five
Wayne.
are back.
My name is Wayne Noon. My pronouns are it and they. I am wearing a
Good.
Merciful Fate shirt. And who am I joined with? James?
Hi.
What are your pronouns?
Well,
Who
he's
gives a
not a
shit?
complete tool, so
Who gives a shit? I don't
Cease
give a
with
crap.
your
You can call me whatever you
skylarking,
want. I've been called
dude.
worse.
My
And
name
I'm
is
wearing
Lou.
a wonderful Sun Records t-shirt that my wife
I know.
bought.
I
Yes,
think that's
very nice
fucking
shirt.
cool. I love
That's a
that.
very cool shirt. Very
That is
My name
cool.
is Lou Mavs. My pronouns are fuck off. Anyways, moving right along.
Boy, we are really losing the family standards here.
Yes,
gentlemen.
we are.
Manson family standards. That's what we got.
And anybody new watching the show, because I hear there's going to be some people watching the show and commenting, and there usually is, but there's going to be some more people. Welcome to Rat Salad Review. And this is not how we usually start the show, because we don't give a shit about that stuff. We want to forget about all that stuff, get out of the real world, and talk about what really matters to us, and that's Judas Priest and Iron Maiden.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
At least
Yeah,
for this
We're
show.
all about the music, not about the politicization of anything.
That's
even
right.
though we're talking about Judas Priest, a known
Wait a minute. They're
provocateur
British.
band back in the day.
They're British. They don't care about our politics. Anyway. go.
Well, Rob Halford does live in Phoenix, Arizona. So
Okay, he might care a little bit, but
Just a
and-
little.
I don't
and
know.
Dave-
I don't know. The end of British Steel might be a little different there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
forgot. Dave Murray lives in
Yes.
Hawaii, I think.
you know who else lives in
Lucky bastard.
Arizona?
Who's that?
And- Okay, you know how Wayne mentions Halloween every episode? Alice Cooper. There's my mention.
Ah, there you go.
He feels better now.
I
Yes,
do.
that's
I
right.
do. So,
Was it? Oh, Greg, you are sideways.
So
Yeah,
actually,
been trying
Wayne,
to fix
speaking of
that, nothing I can do
Halloween,
about it.
no, leave
you were
him
fine before.
sideways. This is
All right.
perfect.
Well, it looks like he's going to fall off the screen, so I don't
he,
want
I know that.
he does kind of look like he is falling. However, there is a Twitch streamer I
it's
was watching the Sumo Bash show with, who played a ton of Halloween, called Leo Dickinson VT. He's a VTuber that was showing some Japanese stuff and played a shit ton of Halloween. And all I could think of was, God damn you, Wayne. Now I know
Sounds
who
like-
this band is.
Sounds like my kind of guy. Well, everybody go check that out. Sounds like a really cool show. But for the meantime, watch us, hit the subscribe button, and let's go. Judas Priest, British Steel, 6th studio album, released April of 1980. First album to feature Dave Holland on drums. It was released in the UK at a discount price of £3.99.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know
Only
that
£4.
Yeah. What would it be
Quid.
like a normal price? Any idea? At that time?
$5.
Yeah, it'd be about $5
Yeah, well,
US.
so not a huge discount, but it's still pretty cool. Okay, so one thing I noticed is most of these songs were covered on the Judas Priest tribute album. So I was somewhat familiar with them when I finally got this album. But again, like the previous album, there is a few really good songs on here that are staple Judas Priest songs. But again, unfortunately, there's a lot of filler. I have that box set too. Very
This
cool.
is the greatest compilation box set I think that any band ever put out.
Yeah.
You got killer studio tracks, live tracks, rare hidden gems, demos, and it's out of print. And thankfully, I have my original copy.
I still
Never
I
parting
have
with
my
this.
original copy too. I bought it as a brand new release.
Yeah,
What year-
Best
what
Buy.
year
I
was
remember that.
Back in what year?
2004, right before the reunion at Ozfest.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I actually got it through Columbia House.
Oh wow, still around then. Huh?
Columbia House was still active in 2004.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they were. I
yes,
was
it
stealing
was.
from them still. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't until Napster. That wasn't until Napster like really killed it. You know.
Oh yeah.
Napster was before Columbia House. That was
But no.
Yeah,
we were
but-
still lime wiring. There was still Columbia.
Yeah,
House,
it was barely breathing Columbia House, but thanks to Columbia House, John F. Kennedy, that's who got the CDs at my house. He had great taste. Motorhead, Judas Priest.
Jeez. JFK
Thank
really
you.
knew good
Thank you,
music
John.
beyond the grave.
Was that before or after the Magic Bullet theory happened?
I believe that's after.
Unfortunately, after, but he still
Yeah.
liked his metal. No,
However, okay,
worries
so-
about that now.
So I
All
do
right,
have
go
a
ahead.
little bit of things. So
Wayne,
1980.
you were saying?
What month was it debuted?
I think he said June.
1980, April of 80.
Oh, April.
April of 80. The conversion rate was around $2 per $1. So,
£2 per dollar.
Two pound. No, it'd be $2 per pound.
So it was like $8 then,
Yeah.
which is normal price for, if you were
Well-
bought it domestically.
See, in the UK, they had like that 3-tier pricing structure. I can't remember the specifics now, but I've collected enough records to remember some of this stupid shit. And I think the average price for a new release like that at the time was like 7 or 8 quid. So it was a deal in that sense, but that was in London, Britain,
Speaking of London and the UK, Harry Barnett has joined us, and he says he lives here. But you know what, Harry? You don't live there for long. You'll be moving to the United States very soon. So
Hide your wives, hide your kids.
There'll be two of us running around. Muhahaha. You will not
There
know
will be.
which is the crime.
Hey guys, I'm gonna go.
Forget
I'm
your
gonna go
wives
through
and-
I'll be right back. I'm gonna do this through my phone because my this
all
is
right,
really bad quality on my side.
all right. We'll
All
still
right,
be
sorry
here.
review. There's not technical difficulties. Cheers.
We got a sideways guy and a guy just left, and then Murphy is back with us again. Columbia House. He spent
Hey,
one
Mike.
penny. He spent 1 penny and got 12 CDs. It didn't buy another thing. Don't blame you. All right. So anyway, where did I leave off?
The funny thing was, like, towards the end of that year, they they were doing all these great deals on like the Priest box set, Sabbath, all this crazy shit, and then they went bankrupt and out of business, and the statements just stopped coming. So
Right.
I never had to pay for most of it.
Lucky you. And Harry says you have no arms, James, but I see you have arms now. So I think
I
everything's
have
fine.
perfectly good arms, sir.
Sometimes you don't have a head though. I see that keeps.
Well, that's beside the point. That's debatable.
Yeah. There's no brain in there. Anyway, rapid fire.
My brain is Abby normal.
Rapid fire starts off the album, kind of similar to Exciter from Stained Class. No double bass stuff though, but still pretty kick-ass opener. Metal Gods. I remember watching a VH1 Judas Priest documentary, and they were talking about how they made those those robot type walking noises, but like throwing like pots and pans and shit on the floor. So that's kind of cool.
It was drawers full of knives and shit, shaking them back and forth.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool to things that they got to go to get these kind of cool sounds in there. But this
Hey,
sounds
man, that was innovation. You couldn't get samples from CDs.
Right.
You had to make them.
right, exactly. Which reminds me, I have to go through that sample of CDs I have over there, the sounds. But this song has like a little AC/DC feel to me in some spots, especially in the chorus where they do that like guitar that reminds me of something like
There's a lot of stuff on this album does. I would definitely say they heard Highway to Hell.
no, yeah, definitely. But I think also too, I was reading they were on tour with AC/DC two before this album.
Oh, that's right. They toured with them for Hellbent for Leather. I forgot about.
Yeah, a matter of fact, if you watch AC/DC's Led to Black, at the beginning of the movie, you see a poster that says AC/DC, and right underneath it, Judas Priest. So yeah, they played the last few shows at Bon Scott. So that's true.
Oh wow, that's cool. So yeah, so that would be where some of that influence came from. And Great Harry Barnett says, speaking of brain, shout out to Eric Adams. Breaking the law.
There's coming too. Forget the women and children. Hide your goats. You guys are gonna get hammered. Be out there punching goats all night.
Good one.
Breaking the law. I don't care how many times I hear this song, I'm always going to like it. It's just a simple kick-ass rock song with memorable guitar parts and lyrics. When most people hear the name Judas Priest, they think of Breaking the Law. Grinder. I remember not caring much for this song when I heard Creator cover it on the tribute album, but hearing this version, it's much better. Still not their best song, but I like the guitars, even though they are very repetitive. United, again with them trying to make some kind of anthem, just never works. I don't know what they were thinking or trying to prove to keep making these songs. You don't have to be old to be wise. You're right. Even a child can hear the song isn't that good. Living After Midnight, again, another song that's fairly repetitive, but it's catchy, and the lyrics and guitar melodies get stuck in your head. The Rage, I like how the song starts out with the bass and then builds up to some pretty heavy guitars. I also like how they reintroduced that intro to the song again. Not the best Priest song, but I like it, and I think it should have ended the album. Steeler just sounds like Exciter, just not as good.
Are you forgetting Red, White, and Blue at the end?
Red, White, and Blue is not part of this album. It's outtake from the Turbo.
Well,
The Twin
on
Turbo
Amazon Music
Project.
it was, so I had to listen to it. So
I did too, and
James, you were listening to streaming it. You were streaming it, huh?
Yeah, I was streaming it while working out, which is me yelling "what the fuck" while on a cardio machine. Not very good for the kids over at Planet Fitness.
Well, go ahead, James. Let us, because you weren't here last week. So.
They're too busy grunting anyway. Screw them.
Speaking of grunting, no, I'm kidding. Rapid Fire, I said good, hard charging song. Metal Gods, stereotypical metal sound with from the 80s. Breaking the Law, it's one of the few songs I've heard before. I like it. Grinder,
Down, Pooch.
down. See, agreeing. Grinder, love the beat and riff. Are we really shocked about Rob Halford's?
Oh, God. Then you called it.
I did, but I mean, are we really going to question Rob Halford's preference?
We don't care.
I know, but he's making it very obvious in that song.
He's been making it obvious since 1976. We
This
didn't
is
know
true.
then, and we still don't care.
This is true. And you know what? I didn't mind it. I just thought it was funny because I'm just listening to the song like going, yeah, there's no doubt. United, very generic song. Just my God, what such boring dreck. You don't have to be old. Another metal empowerment song. Oh boy. Living After Midnight. It's an average beat, but it's a fun song. So, nothing wrong with that. The Rage, way too much Rob Halford over singing, but it's a great solo. Steeler, hard charging, enjoyed that song. And then Red, White, and Blue, I just put what the fuck in question marks and exclamation points.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
I don't know. I'm thinking. I'm like, wait a minute. They're British, but their flag's red, white, and blue too. So all right.
I was
so maybe-
I was like, that's half of it. I'm like, going, is this
Right.
a fucking like jingoistic American song? Is
Right,
this a
yeah.
jingoistic British song?
Well, they love America. You
Of course they
guys.
do. Of course.
It was written for Born on the 4th of July. Or no, wait, that's too later in the 80s.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's a like what 86
Probably.
movie?
I think it might. Maybe it was written
Apocalypse
for
Now, whatever.
Iron Eagle.
Oh.
I think it might have been written for Iron Eagle because the filmmakers of Iron Eagle did want to hire Judas Priest. Oh no, it wasn't Iron Eagle. It was Top Gun.
Yeah,
the makers of Top Gun.
actually, they wanted a song. They wanted Reckless from Turbo for Top Gun, and Priest wouldn't give it to them, and then they instantly regretted that decision, which led to the Johnny Be Good fiasco. But
Oh, good.
before I get tortured, let's talk about something good they did in the meantime.
All right. Thank you for the correction, Greg, because I was under the impression that they wanted the album to be the soundtrack. I didn't realize they just wanted Reckless for the soundtrack. And where did James go?
Yeah, Reckless would have been the featured song like Danger Zone is in the movie.
thing. And Murphy says Motley Crue ripped off Grinder on Knock 'Em Dead Kid.
Oh my God, that is a good comparison.
Yeah.
Not that you would know, Wayne, you hate Motley Crue. You let that be known on TikTok.
Yeah.
That and Lit. You just got so mad about Lit for some reason. Why did you do? Did you hate
It was funny.
98?
That was funny. Yes, and Lit sucks. Manny, go ahead.
That album's fun.
No, please stop it. What's
Fun
going on,
to
Manny?
play frisbee with.
Ultimate Frisbee. Oh, it's broken. Oh, well.
All right, we're gonna go to Greg. Let's go to Greg. I don't know what Manny's doing.
Yeah, sure. Good. Well, first of all, Manny, I remember now.
Okay.
I had to
Oh,
explain
Manny
why.
wants us to see his crotch all night long. But
Okay, go ahead, Manny.
Oh, he left again.
Ah,
That boy
He's
better
up.
get a better system. I swear to God.
one of these days.
Greg, please. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, the reason I put these two together like this, well, you got two tandem with one on a lot of this stuff because of differing amounts of albums each band has and what year they came out and such. But this is when both of them really started to break big commercially and most importantly in America in their respective careers. And I think you can hear that a lot on this as well as them. They definitely go more commercial here, but they refine it a little bit better than they did on Hellbent for Leather. And it's definitely very American on some songs, and it's the song structure approach. Same thing with On Point of Entry, and then a couple of songs of Peace of Mind, but we'll get to that. Rapid Fire is a good opener, if a little boring, but I do like the song. I love it when they do it live. I think pretty much everything on this album sounds better live, actually. The production's a little gritty on this one. Metal Gods, good song. Good anthem for him. A little boring overall, but I still like it, and it's pretty cool. Breaking the Law, great riff, total classic song there. Grinder's a good heavy one, which Wayne, much like you, when I first heard it, I really didn't like it all that much because it's basically just that guitar riff over and over and over.
Yeah.
As cool as it is.
Jeez, it's like foreshadowing.
Yes. And then United, I can't stand. I did not need a second attempt at We Are the Champions from them. I actually like Take on the World, but they could have just stopped there. And the worst part about this one is that opening riff sounds pretty cool. And then just shits to bed like Amber Heard. You know, there you go. There's
Oh man. Wow.
Well, it was only a matter of time before we made an Amber Heard reference on this show.
Bro.
Better Greg than somebody else.
But
Yeah, that's great.
Tequila bottles, everybody.
And then-
Hydro tequila.
you don't have to be old to be wise. This song bothers me so fucking much because while everything on here is kind of repetitive in parts, this has to be the most boring track on the record. And the chorus is far too long. I get what they're trying to say, but it doesn't all work together in the end. And did this really need to be fucking 5 minutes long? Like, I would have much preferred a couple extra seconds of the solo and Breaking the Law, or even a refrain of the chorus on that. That's more interesting on its own, isolated, that 20 seconds than anything in this. But
Yeah.
I will say though, one thing about this, where even though some of the tracks are kind of boring, when you're listening to the album as a whole, it flows together really well.
Mhm.
Where even though I don't like this song that much, it's not like a stark difference from anything else, like how Burning Up comes out of fucking nowhere on Hellbent for Leather. But I like that song.
Yeah.
Living After Midnight, a really good hit. Not really one of my favorite songs or one of their more creative ones, but it's fun. It's not bad. Just not one of my favorites. Still good. The Rage is my favorite track on the whole album because it brings some of that 70s Priest darkness and menacing back into it, because this album is really where they left a lot of that stuff behind. There's more real world stuff on this whole album, except for this one song, really.
Yep.
And any of you guys ever watch the classic albums episode on this?
I
Yes.
have it actually. Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, there's two parts I remember. One, they recorded this in Ringo Starr's house, and it was during the winter of '80, I believe. And I think Halford says at one point, right after John Lennon got shot, the Imagine video just turned itself on the TV or something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then but as they're going through it song by song, they get to the Rage, and it pops over to Halford, and he reads the first two lines of the song, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know where the hell I came up with that or what any of that means, but it sure sounds good." And I was like, "Okay, so it's not just me then." But I love it. Great song. I also think the record really should have ended with this. Steeler, again, not a bad song, but it's just kind of average Judas Priest. It almost sounds like a reprise and a mix together of Rapid Fire and Grinder.
Wow.
But instead of taking two semi-strong songs and turning them into a great song, they take both elements and somehow make it more bland, except for the guitar solo. But that is one thing you will notice with me with a lot of their albums going into the 80s. That some of the ending tracks piss me off immensely because they will have the perfect closer sometimes and then just shoot it right to hell. And they do that here.
Yeah, big time. Manny.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with most of every one of you because I love the album actually quite a bit.
Whoa! You're not. You're not treading bad. I was critiquing the songs. I actually
and I
the
most part,
yeah, the album's not terrible.
Like the songs.
It's not Killing Machine, but
Well, I kind of agree. I mean, I get Greg's point where when you listen to it as a whole, it works better to me. I mean, that's how I listen to albums anyway. I rarely pull a song out. I guess my main problem with it is I personally listen to it too much. And if I never hear Breaking the Law ever again or Living After Midnight, that'd be fine. I can listen to them in an album sequence. I don't know how much. I'm pretty sure that AC/DC had an influence on him and Def Leppard in a weird way. Not songwriting, but keep the song shorter, give it a little more spit shine but without changing your sound. Because if you think about what AC/DC did with Mutt Lange, they didn't really change their sound that much. They pumped up the backup vocals, but of course they had Bon Scott. Bon Scott isn't going to really change that much anyway. But
I really think he did on Highway to Hell. Mutt Lange taught him a lot of different things.
No, he taught him how to sing, and Bon was very grateful for that. Proper singing. Yeah, I agree with that. I love British Steel. I think it was a groundbreaking album for its day. I don't know what it would sound like to a kid, and when I mean a kid like 15, 16-year-old, but it was a groundbreaking album during its time. It certainly helped usher in the age of heavy metal of the 1980s that we saw come in. And as far as you don't have to be old to be wise. I actually like that song a lot. I like Steeler a lot, and I think the reason I like Steeler is because it is rapid, or not Steeler, rapid. Yeah, it is.
Rapid Fire and Grinder.
Rapid Fire and Grinder mashed up.
Yeah, because they're basically rewrites of their faster songs off the previous album. That's why I like them.
Yep.
Overall, I think it's a great album. I think I like the songs a little bit better individually than you guys do. Lyrically, I don't want to say Rob Halford's dumbing things down, but he's definitely, like Greg's pointed out, changes what he's writing about.
They're starting to become Americanized almost.
Very Americanized. Yeah.
To an extent, it's more simplistic, but I mean, he puts more into his words still, even though it's a little bit more broken down. I mean, it's not like a Kiss album where it's just about fucking and fucking.
No, that's true.
And
that's
fucking.
True.
Yeah.
That's what Kiss albums are about.
And I liked it more because he stopped the over singing. That's what I didn't like about Stay in Class as much. Going from that, he started not overdoing the singing because he doesn't have to do that. It's good with him being back down. It's kind of like the what I like to call the Uma Thurman theory. For some reason, Quentin Tarantino was the only person to tell Uma Thurman cut the overacting shit off and actually just do your character.
It's kind of interesting that you bring that up because Freddie Mercury, and Rob Halford both kind of cut back on that over singing. I don't think it's over singing, but I know where you're coming from.
The overuse of the vibrato is my biggest issue.
Yeah, because they kind of he learned to use it more effectively instead of using it through a whole song.
Exactly,
so.
and I think that was my biggest issue of that album was that, and then this Killing Machine and British Steel, he really tones that down, and I like it.
In some ways, I see this like part 2 of Killing Machine. Well, I called it Hellbent for Leather because that's what it was called here. But I kind of see it as a continuation of that, in my opinion. But overall, I think it's a strong album, and I think historically that's why it's always on these lists. In my opinion.
Of course.
Yeah.
And they played the whole album live not too long ago, and then they just released the 30th anniversary not too long ago too. So this album means a lot to a lot of musicians and a lot of people. So,
and it legitimately was a game changer and a big breakthrough.
Yep.
It's kind of funny how many albums in 1980 were big game changers. Back in Black, Def Leppard, On Through the Night, Iron Maiden. Anyway, did Lou give his opinion yet?
Nope, I was going to Lou right now. Lou, go.
So when I first heard the album when I was a kid, it was on cassette, and Breaking the Law actually opened up the cassettes. So
that's right. Yeah.
So it was Breaking the Law.
That's the American version.
Right.
My dad had the UK press of it, so I had always heard it with the original track listing, Rapid Fire, Metal Gods, and then Breaking the Law. But in the US, because it was designed to break the American market, they put the 2 singles at the beginning of each side.
They always did that.
Which is a terrible opener. That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. Especially on side 2. Yeah. Living After Midnight, it is a good single, but it's not a strong side opener.
All right.
It needs to be built up with something else. Sorry, Lou, hijacked you.
No worries. I agree with you, though. I think Living After Midnight would actually have been a perfect album closer, though, in my opinion. And I prefer Rapid Fire as the opening track. I mean, that just comes out of nowhere and just slaps you in the face and go, it's Judas Priest for the 1980s. Now, personally, if I never hear Judas Priest perform Living After Midnight or Breaking the Law again, I'd be okay with that, because I've heard them perform both songs every freaking time I've gone to see them. I would like to hear an album cut, but I get it. The casual fans love that, and Priest does a great job of catering to the casual fans and the hardcores, which is a far more than I could say than Black Sabbath did in their final couple of tours with Ozzy, or Kiss to this day. But I digress.
All right, man, we're hitting the high notes tonight, man. Lou got his Kiss
and as much as I love them, I'll even say Def Leppard. I don't want to hear every song off Pyromania. Well, no, I'm sorry, not Pyromania. Hysteria every time I see you live. Play something off On Through the Night. I'm rambling right now. Back to the album. This album, as much as I do love it, and yes, I even love the songs you guys are shitting on. I love Grinder and I love United. Sue me,
I like
don't
Grinder.
care.
I like Grinder. I was just
Grinder's cool.
Calling it cheeky,
I like cheeky.
Yeah.
And for God's sakes, I grew up watching Mel Brooks films. How can I not love a song like Grinder? But anyway, but this album actually begins my bone of contention with Judas Priest for the remainder of the 1980s. And that's even hard for me to say, considering my favorite Judas Priest album is from the 1980s. And that bone of contention is the elephant in the room. And that is the horrible, shitty ass drumming from one Dave Holland. You couldn't have picked a more robotic drummer than Dave Holland. I mean, for God's sakes, throw Peter Criss, who I think is just as bad as drummer, but at least he'd bring some life into the goddamn drums.
You think that
Peter
they were
Criss
going for
swing?
Yes, I'll give him that. But he doesn't have tempo, but he does have swing. I'll give him that.
Do you think they were going for the Phil Rudd type, simplistic drumming? Even though
big difference,
because Phil Rudd actually is phenomenal. But anyway, go ahead.
Phil Rudd, I put into a category with Charlie Watts.
Absolutely.
You can depend on them. Rest in peace, Charlie. But you can depend on them to keep the tempo throughout the entire song, give it that life that it needs to be driving, and just let them cruise along. I mean, Dave Holland is just the most, and again, I hate to speak ill of the dead, and we're not going to talk about what he was
No,
allegedly
we're not talking
arrested
about
for,
that. Yeah,
because this ain't Chris Hansen to Catch a Predator, but I'm just talking about him as a drummer.
There's no guys dressed up as trees right now.
Why don't you have a seat right there? I'm sorry. I thought his drumming was shit. His drumming was. I thought his drumming was shit, and Wayne, what did you think of him as a drummer? I mean,
I didn't have no problem with him. He's fine to me. I don't know.
Same here. I thought he fit the songs. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, he was no Neil Peart. He's no Scott Travis either,
Right.
or Les Binks for that matter.
That's what I'm saying. If you had Les Binks in the band, they would have had more life in those songs.
I get it, but when was ever Judas Priest known as this like heavily musical band outside of? I mean, the guitarists are good, but they don't really show off like Iron Maiden does or anything like that.
Right.
That's not their job. That's not the music.
But James, those songs would sound ridiculous if they did the type of Iron Maiden.
Oh, I get it. I agree completely. I agree. I'm saying that's not their bag.
But,
so why are we trying to put them in that bag?
But I get what Lou's saying about that, because actually, comparatively, something I'll say next about point of entry, but Dave Holland is definitely not the best drummer. For the most part, it worked with Priest, although there's some shit, especially later, like the Sentinel, where it would have benefited from a different drummer. While he does on the next couple albums sound very good and fuller and a little looser, he is very stiff and very tense and robotic on here.
That's my problem with it.
Yeah.
Like if you replace him with like Andy Parker of UFO or Brian Downey of Thin Lizzy, I'm talking about other drummers who, again, when you hear them play, you can hear life in their playing. I'm not saying somebody like Carmine Appice, where it's like,
no,
I mean, great drummer, but that would not have been a great sound for Priest.
Carmine Appice's overrated. Sorry, but Brian Downey is underrated. He is not your typical drummer. He's a phenomenal drummer.
Right, and I'm just saying it would have been nice to have heard some life in the drums.
You hear him as an advanced. Sorry,
that's okay. What were you saying?
I was saying you call him pretty much an advanced click track.
I think the click track has more life.
Well, in a way, I don't.
It's just
I don't know.
It's boring. Okay, every time I've seen Priest live, it's been exciting. I personally feel, and this is just an opinion, I think Scott Travis is the right drummer for Judas Priest from Painkiller till today. I mean, he's got it. The job is his, and he owns it.
Right.
And like when he plays 80s Priest live, the songs just sound better. Like there's more life to them live. Yeah.
He's a different player, but I don't know. Dave Holland did good. Like Manny said, he did what the songs needed to be. Like he played the drums the way they should have been played for those songs. It didn't need like some crazy stuff going on.
No,
like James says,
it doesn't need anything crazy, but he could play with a fuller sound here. And I think part of it is just it was his first outing with the band. And then I also think Tom Allen's production on this leaves a lot to be desired, especially on the drums and the bass. And that's part of what makes it so monotone, because of how simple and similar a lot of the songs are.
Yeah.
Maybe if I listen to Dave Holland with Trapeze, I've never heard Trapeze, but he was the drummer in that band before. Maybe I should give them a shot to see.
Actually, he does play better in Trapeze because because Glenn Hughes has a more R&B sort of influence than obviously Judas Priest ever will. So anyway, Wayne,
are you done, Lou?
Love the album, but that's my only bone of contention. I'm not a Dave Holland drumming fan, so I whatever. I mean, all things considered, yeah, the songs sound great, but I would just like to hear a little bit more life and less stiffness in the drums when it comes to Judas Priest. That's it.
Fair enough.
I'm just leaving that there.
What do you got to say, Wayne?
Go
Go ahead.
Wayne.
You said the word stiff. So
Oh,
He's
God.
stiff.
Wayne, Jesus Christ.
In more ways
Murphy's
than one.
We're gonna be on
Hi-yo.
OnlyFans soon, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Murphy said the highlights for him are Rapid Fire, Metal Gods, and don't have to be old to be wise.
See, that's a smart guy right there, whoever that is.
He's-
I'm sure it's not his first time being wrong.
Oh,
Murph
and
also
Greg
said
comes
I
in
didn't.
with the contrarianism.
Murph did say I didn't see why anybody was surprised when Rob Halford came out. He looked like one of the Village People. He was quoted on Behind the Music as saying that he looked like Glenn from the Village People. He's quoted it himself.
I mean, dude, raw deal. Sin After Sin, 77. Name drops, Fire Island. Gay bar, clearly singing about picking up a dude. Like he literally came out with that song. And I
Hey,
just
look,
don't get-
Accept's lyrics were written by Gabby Hoffman, and that had attracted a big gay following. So what? The songs are good, and you know,
Yeah,
I mean,
Oh no! You see, we're having good fun with this though. I mean, come on, it's good fun.
Well, what I like about Grinder is
you
it
use that
shows a
type
sense
too.
of humor. It's got a sense of humor. I mean, Grinder
does.
looking for meat. I mean, that's Rob Halford's definitely having fun with his audience, like wink, wink, you know, and I think that's cool.
Well, I
Oh,
think
he
it's
admitted
also
it.
foreshadowing that the gay app du jour is called Grinder, and they probably take it from this song.
Actually, in all seriousness, I mean, you know, I'm not gay, but I can't imagine the suckiness of having to hide who you are for all those years, you know, and then you come out and the audience is like, we don't care, just make some good music, you know, but I feel a lot of sympathy for him. I can't imagine what that's like on a serious note, you know. So.
On a serious note, I can't imagine being at that time. But the whole fun thing about watching the movie Metal Lords and him like talking about how manly Rob Halford is while he's in full leather daddy and everything, it's just like,
Well, that believe it or
what was that, Manny?
believe it or not, James, it never occurred to anybody that he was gay. Not that people sat around and thought about it, but you know, people would call David Lee Roth gay, blah blah, all this stuff, which he wasn't. And here was the metal guy who actually was, and nobody ever called him out on anything like that. You know,
Yeah,
so
it's funny.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when he did eventually come out, I was like, I don't care. Please write a good metal album. That's all I
Yeah.
cared about.
Because at the end of the day, metal audiences don't give a shit. They might draw the line at goats, but besides that, they don't care. They
With
just
the
want you-
goats today, Jesus.
They just want you to fucking play good rock and roll heavy metal. Wayne, you're up.
Judas Priest, point of entry.
Another reference.
Oh,
Hi-yo.
The seventh album released February 1981. By now, the band was able to fly their equipment to the state-of-the-art recording studio in Spain, which you can definitely hear in the overall sound of the album. They tried to be even more commercial on this album because of the pressure from the record company. Another thing, too, this album had two different album covers. One, some weird thing, it looked like a wing of the airplane or something. I'm imagining.
That's
Yeah,
what it
it's
is.
going towards the sky, making its point.
that's the British
to the
one.
horizon.
Can you put it the other side, Greg, since you're sideways?
Yeah, you're slideways.
Wrong
Oh, yeah,
way.
there
There you go, right?
Yes, yes, there you go.
yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Go up a little bit.
Not
Go
back
towards
up.
the ceiling.
Yeah, there you go, okay.
Oh, is that in focus?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the other point. Okay,
Actually,
got it.
that could be like a trouser snake, maybe. Maybe that's what that is.
A trouser snake.
Trouser snake. You guys fucking out of here. Anyway, come on, Tom.
Tongue in cheek, not so with the
We
references.
we watched the one-eyed trouser snake as it goes into the glory hole. This is Jacques Cousteau. What is that?
I wish I had brought it out here with me, but you guys want to talk about really non-subtle references. I have a tour shirt for the 88 Ram It Down tour, and apparently it was called the Ram It Down, Shove It Up tour, and right underneath Shove It Up is this giant steel fist and arm going up like
Of course it is. Subtle nuances, people. We didn't figure it out till 1998.
And then the other album cover has like some kind of a film strip going through. It looks like a highway type thing into mountains or whatever.
It's computer print
computer
paper.
not made
Yes,
for
computer.
printer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I both ugly album covers, and most of their early album covers kind of sucked. I mean, except for like the second one, Sad Wings was like probably my favorite album cover of theirs. But
My favorite, definitely Stained Glass album and cover. There's something
this is-
so
We
striking.
we don't know what it is. What is going on? It looks like Destro getting a lobotomy from GI Joe. That's what it looks like to me. Okay, no one got the
Yeah.
Destro reference, really?
I got
No,
it.
I
We,
get it.
we got it. We're just letting you die on that vine.
Womp 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 womp.
what is it, Greg?
So wait, what's
It's metal and it looks cool. It doesn't really matter if there's deeper meaning to it or not, but there really isn't. I mean, Raslaw Sabo designed it, but he never really said like what it was supposed to represent or anything. But just the mood it gives off and the way it's lit and the fact that it's made out of steel is definitely representative of that record.
Well, if Halloween could get away with fried eggs on the eyes and a girl almost swallowing a fish whole, I guess Judas Priest could get away with the stained glass cover.
Yeah.
All right, Wayne, go ahead.
Why not? Why not? So this album, I remember listening to it. It kind of bored me a little bit, but listening to it this time, I feel a little bit differently. So heading out to the highway, one of my top favorite Judas Priest songs, very memorable, catchy. Also really like the guitar solos. Don't Go. I think this song's way too early to be put as a second song. Starts off kind of slow, and then it just brings the album down, once it gets to the chorus, and solo picks up a bit. Those are my only parts that I like of the song pretty much. Otherwise, don't really go to the song normally. Hot Rockin'. Where is Hot Rockin'? How do you get to it? If they're playing this song, I don't want to go. Turning Circles. I hate the intro to this song. What is with that intro? What is with that intro?
That's awesome.
That is a terrible intro. It's dumb.
It's building mood and atmosphere.
yeah.
But they never go back to it, and it's just I don't know. It doesn't
So
fit.
Literally
Because it's
based
an
off of
intro.
every
Then not
fucking
everyone
pop
is
freaking
Halloween
punk
that wants to
album
repeat
ever. There's
to
every
their
pop punk
fanciful
song ever.
themes.
I don't know, but that's the only part I don't like about the song. Otherwise, I love the song. I think it sounds good.
It
But-
builds up and melds into the main riff, though. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Not everyone can revisit their fanciful stuff like Halloween does, Wayne.
It's true. Nobody's that great. But thankfully the song gets better after that. And they introduce those guitars again. Again, this song doesn't really do much, but the chorus is interesting with how Rob sings it. Cool, deep track. Desert Plains. Again, another song I really liked when Iron Saver covered it. And this version is good as well, obviously. Very engaging song. Rob's vocals are very smooth in this one. I love how he sings, like he's not like over singing it. So I'm sure James likes this song because he's not overdoing it.
I'll save my comments for when it's my
Okay.
turn.
Interesting. Solar Angels. I think this song would have worked so much better as the second track and switched with Don't Go. This song is good. You can hear on this album in general, Rob is changing up some of his vocals approach a bit. He's a bit more subdued and being more melodic than just belting and screaming it out, like I said before. You say yes, I say no. All the way. What do you say?
I say yes. I love
You
that
say-
song.
Really? No. All the way. This song strangely kind of has a bit of a Aerosmith feel to it. Not a terrible song, but not one I would go to often. I wonder what Rob's talking about taking all the way. Troubleshooter. This song has a bit of an AC/DC feel to it, but again, not a song I go back to listen to often. And On the Run, decent song, repetitive chorus, but music is catchy and up tempo. Good ending to the album. Anyone catch the around 2-minute mark where there's like some kind of extra vocal in there, and I forgot to take it out. Yeah. But yeah, so decent song.
No Thunder Road.
That was a
Again,
bonus
it's
track.
a bonus track, James. Yeah,
Which
it's
is
okay,
I
though.
don't know, man. I
Completely
don't know.
different.
I don't have these albums.
You can tell it's like electronic drums.
Yeah. The whole thing sounds totally different.
Yeah.
Was that
But,
twin turbos too?
Yes.
But yeah, decent ending to the album. So I don't mind this album too much. There's some good stuff on there, and I like the production on it too. I think it's a lot better than the last album, and yeah, it's a decent album.
It's much more live and louder and more
Yeah.
authentic sounding, and they sound both tighter as a unit but looser here. And I think part of that is having the bigger budget and getting recorded in Spain. I mean, there's still like they mentioned pressure on them to write more hits, especially after as big as British Steel was. And you get a couple dud type songs.
Yeah.
But overall, I think they play better on here than they did on British Steel.
Yeah, definitely. Dave, what do you think about Dave Holland, Lou? Do you think he upped his game a little bit on this album?
I actually
think
think
so.
his drumming fits the album.
Yeah.
So I'll give it that. I mean, I'll leave that for when it's my time to talk. Let Greg wrap up.
You're fired. Greg?
I'm back.
What about Dave's drumming?
Yeah, not just in general, the rest of the album. Because I know this is one of your favorite Priest albums too. So
Oh yeah, this would be in my top 5. It's just it's a great record, and it other than all the way and Troubleshooter is kind of where it falls apart. I mean, You Say Yes is definitely almost a damn Police song. I mean,
right. Yes.
It sounds like Judas Priest playing it, but I can see why this upset some fans. Like, honestly, you would think they would be hits the way they're written, but the problem, I think, with the radio play was it still sounds very much like Judas Priest. And I think that was a little bit too heavy, maybe, for your mainstream listeners at this point. But that song was...
I have 2 other bands instead of the Police, although the Police is very good for that song. I hear 2 other band references.
Is the Cars one of them?
No.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, we'll get to
we're
Well,
waiting.
Let Greg finish.
Wayne, I also thought All the Way made me think of Aerosmith a little bit too. Yeah. And the Cars at points, but that's the one song on here I'm really not all that fond of. It annoys me really because it starts with one of the best leads and riffs on the record, and then it gets to that chorus where the hand claps definitely sound better than they did on Starbreaker, but it doesn't really fit
Come on.
the verses. And so that one I'm not particularly fond of, but Heading Out to the Highway is a great opener. I really like Don't Go. I think it's a great song, but you're right. It shouldn't have been track 2. Hot Rockin's just your average rocker. I mean, I don't dislike it. I wouldn't turn it off, but it's not one of my more favorite songs by them. Turning Circles is. I think it's great all the way through. That's got a killer solo on it too. Desert Plains, probably my second favorite ballad type song from them. It's just awesome all the way through. And the way he doesn't go as much with the bravado, although I think that really fit the style of Stained Class really well. But he emotes a little bit more here while he's constraining the falsettos and the bravados and whatnot a little bit. So I think that really made that an excellent song, and great that they play it live. Solar Angels, probably my favorite song on the whole album. Just great all around. This was actually their opener for every show during this tour. I've got a soundboard recording of it. That's pretty badass.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. And that's another reason I think I like this one so much better than British Steel and even Hellbent for Leather. Really, it has that live feel to it. It's way more aggressive sounding and approach, even though a lot of the themes are much poppier than British Steel was. I mean, it loses that gritty metal element of it, but I just like the live sound of the band a lot here.
And I think most of this album was like kind of written like on the spot too, no?
Yeah, they wrote it in the studio in Spain, I do believe.
Yeah.
The whole thing there. Yeah. And that's another thing I like about it, where even though they get kind of bland and a little too poppy during parts, it really fits together well because it sounds like they were having a good time, and it's just super organic. Like I said, the only complaint I really have is just, and still I can listen to it, the album all the way through, and it really doesn't bother me. It's just the chorus to All the Way sounds really misplaced, and Troubleshooter is a little choppy. Everything in it is a cool idea, but they don't really connect certain parts of it too well. Kind of the same with All the Way, but I love On the Run. Great album closer, great song. I wish they would have done that live.
Yeah, cool.
But, Two favorite songs would probably be "Turning Circles" and "Solar Angels."
Cool. Yeah, I love Soul Angels. It's a good song. Murphy says, did they have a single successful as Living After Midnight before, or was Living After Midnight the first successful?
The first,
They had some moderate success before, but I don't think.
Wouldn't Breaking the Law be considered a bigger single?
That wasn't released after though. It was not the first one.
Yeah, Living
Oh,
After Midnight
after.
came out first.
Oh,
If you
yeah,
watch
yeah.
the music videos, Halford's got long hair in Living After Midnight. Then he
Yeah.
cuts it right before Breaking the Law.
Yeah.
Which
You have
has
another thing. You have another thing coming.
That was
That's it.
82.
82. Yeah.
All right, Manny.
all three singles from this had music videos. They just didn't perform as well.
Yeah. There was Hot Rockin' and a Point of Entry. I used to really like the album. I'm surprised Greg mentioned it's one of his favorite ones. I believe he said that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I like the album. They were going a little more commercial, but they're also experimenting at the same time. That's what makes it interesting. Solar Angels, the example of that. Heading Out to the Highway is an example of how to do a song that's radio friendly without selling out, without sounding ridiculous. I think it's a very weird thing to say this far into their career, but I think it's somewhat of a transitional album because it's not quite as what they would become with Screaming for Vengeance and other that, but it's very different than British Steel. Sonically, it doesn't have a lot.
I hear what you're saying, but I would say more experimental than transitional because this is more. I feel like they tried something out and they didn't quite like how it worked overall, and then they found a way to refine the metallicness of the 70s more into their current approach, and that was how they went at Screaming for Vengeance. That's just how it seemed to me, though. But
the thing, what we didn't mention about British Steel is that's the first album where they literally, whatever blues influence they have, it's gone totally. I mean, they're a full out metal band at this point, or at least metal of its era.
well,
But this album, yeah, go ahead.
I'd say The Rage has some of that bluesiness to it, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, a little bit, but you really got to listen for it. It's not as upfront. Point of Entry, experimental album. I like it. I think I like it better than the band likes it, but I don't love it. But it's certainly better than what would come like Turbo and Jugulator and God. Anyway, what I like about the album is the band is not afraid to take chances. That's what I like about it. And at this point, it probably
Oh, Manny.
Oh, Manny.
Manny.
Connection's
Manny,
terrible.
you're running away. He's gone robotic.
to take chances because they could have
You gotta
walked.
stop buying those Doors.
Oh. No, did it? All right.
Now, could you repeat everything you just said? He's gone.
And he's gone.
He's got to go back to the computer. He must have Spectrum. James, go ahead.
Oh boy. Speaking of Spectrum. All right. So Point of Entry, I think, is a very interesting album. I do like that they go different directions. However, I a lot of this album is not metal at all. So, all right. So Heading Out to the Highway, but I'm not. I don't like it that much. It's not one of my favorite songs. Don't go. Interesting way to going about the song, but it's different. Hard Rocking, I think musically it's really good, but the lyrics are not very strong. Turning Circles, this isn't metal. It's gonna be a great theme here. Desert Plains, this isn't metal. This is yacht rock.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you disagree with it or not? This is the truth. Anyway,
He brings you love.
Wait a minute. Are you saying because the chords are the same as Christopher Cross's Ride Like the Wind?
bing.
That doesn't make it yacht rock.
It's yacht rock anyway. The whole beats and everything's yacht rock anyway. Solar Angels did 38 specials and
We just killed Manny.
or Did 38 special?
Manny, do you need a defibrillator?
He's gonna get more of this. Get ready. Solar Angels, did 38 special or Damn Yankees get Rob Halford for a song?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Surprised you just didn't throw Night Ranger into that mix.
That's one of the most Priest-like songs on the record.
No, it's not. Anyway,
You know,
say I disagree completely with that statement.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, you say yes. Did they listen to a bunch of Kinks and Blondie? I got a lot of Kinks and Blondie out of that.
I get that, James. That I actually get that reference, and the answer is probably. But yeah,
Probably. I mean, who wouldn't at that moment would be watching a lot of Blondie?
Yeah.
Watch Blondie with the sound off. But anyway, go ahead.
Hey, yo.
Never mind.
All the way. This is more metal, but it's like pop metal. So the Aerosmith references and everything, I get. Way poppy. Troubleshooter. Okay, without knowing what Rob Halford's preferences were, how many high school girls thought this was their anthem at the time?
Need I remind you the great quote from Heavy Metal Parking Lot? Some girl yelling out, "I want to jump his bones." Good luck, honey.
So I really enjoyed that one. And On the Run, we went so long without Rob Halford over singing a song. We went so long.
I knew that was coming.
and then I got to listen to Thunder Road because this is part of the album, so I got to put it in there. Very hair metal vibe. I got a lot of hair metal vibes from the song.
Greg, was that even recorded during these sessions on the road, or is that
no? It was meant for twin turbos.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Well, that explains it, James. So
yeah.
Manny,
it wasn't a bad one. I just when I was listening to it going, I'm like, this isn't any of the Judas Priest we've listened to the entire time. It's nothing like that.
I'm shocked you don't like more of it than you do.
It isn't like that, but it is like you can hear them experimenting with more popular stuff and just different shit in general, but it still really sounds like Judas Priest for the most part.
I disagree with that. I mean, other than like the guitars are tuned the same and everything like that, I thought it's just the types of riffs and everything they were going with was not what Judas Priest was doing. And I like that from the last two albums. And then they go this way. I'm kind of like, well, okay, they're throwing us a curveball here, but what the heck's going on here? What's the thought process?
Sonically, it sounds very, very different. I mean, we could talk about the songwriting, but sonically, it's very, very different. I think some of the lyrics on here are very dumbed down. I mean, you say yes or whatever.
Hot rockin'.
Hot Rockin's a perfect example of that.
And I put that. The lyrics are just awful.
Yeah, I mean, Hot Rockin' is the best example. What does that mean? Hot Rockin'.
And they want to go there.
Wants to go.
Well, I guess because last was Cold Rockin', but and I think unintentionally that video where they're at the steam bath. Talk about homoerotic without trying to be.
Dude, that's Don't Go. That whole video, and then you just think about the lyrics with it, and wow.
Well, I mean, one of the songs on there, again, as a kid, I read it and didn't think twice about it, but one of the songs on there, he's definitely expressing, his sexuality. Yeah. But
it's a good song.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to get hung up on that, but it's just kind of funny in retrospect looking back on it, on that.
But
anyway,
to debate that point, though, I would also like to say where some people may have not noticed is even with the steam bath and the Don't Go video being the way it is with all the leather and the song references and all that. I mean, by the mid to late 80s, Poison, Motley Crue, Rob Halford was looking pretty goddamn manly.
Yeah.
No denying that.
And
I mean, when Prince was more manlier at that moment than they were.
Well, Prince is a musical genius, so he could do whatever he wants. But
I'm talking about the way he looked. I'm talking about his looks.
that was the era. I mean, like you guys point out, Poison. Again, it's ironic that Rob Halford, like you guys point out, is not going that far. But James, you brought up a good point, the more popular elements, but they didn't turn into what, like you named, Poison, Motley Crue.
Oh no,
No, they would save that for 5 years down the road.
No, we're saving that.
Yeah.
I heard like stuff like 38 Special and stuff like that. As I heard a lot of 38 Special in it.
So you're saying it's more AOR hard rock than it is metal,
Yes.
essentially.
yes, yeah. I'm
You're not wrong.
I'm not calling it metal in the sense of heavy metal. I'm calling it it's a rock album.
And James, what's funny is bands like Blackfoot, Leonard Skinner, Black Oak, Arkansas. I don't think 38 Special. All these southern rock bands that you would think would not have no audience in the UK were huge in the UK. So I'm sure some of that influence slipped through. So that's a good spot.
And here's an ironic thing.
And then it also, I don't know about you guys, but little bit of Loverboy in there, some Canadian stuff too, April Wine, just what was popular at the time.
Oh my God, but Greg, that is so ARO. I mean, that made Poison sound like, I like Led Zeppelin.
There's more musical value in Power Play and Nature of the Beast than there is in those first 3 Poison albums.
I'll give Greg that.
I will give you that.
Here's the ironic thing. Molly Hatchet, where you consider a southern rock band, they call themselves a heavy metal band.
You're right. And I forgot
they
about
do.
Like a lot of those bands were interchangeable. And I know this band has absolutely nothing to do with the two that we're talking about, but Black Sabbath themselves during the Mob Rules tour, and I read this in the digipack that I got, their opening acts were bands like The Outlaws, Greengrass and High Tides.
Yeah.
Because to them, it's like the differences in musical taste or musical style they thought would go over well with the audiences because, you didn't have, okay, this is all the metal we're going to give you. It's like to them, it's like the bands were interchangeable because, metal was just coming up at the time. It's like it was either called hard rock or,
music.
Metal was still relatively new in the echelon of the mainstream. So,
well, I don't know if you ever heard. I know Greg knows Scott Waters, but me and Scott are about the same age, and a lot of the stuff that we call metal wouldn't be called metal now because of what you mentioned: Aerosmith, Alice Cooper, even AC/DC. I still consider it that genre because that's what I grew up it being called. But even hard. So you bring up a good point that it wasn't established totally as a genre yet. So they would throw all kinds of bands under that banner that didn't necessarily belong there. So it's a good point you brought up, Lou.
Murphy says the hot rockin' video starts off like Get Physical, but with no chicks.
This is true. That was like the number 2 video on the Electric Eye home DVD. So yeah, I remember that.
I had never seen that video. I'll have to look it up. Well, not that I want to, but
it's on YouTube. You can find it.
He's gonna YouTube it, and the next thing you know, the plays are gonna be like 1,000 plays. He's just gonna watch it.
Seriously, we should do a Ratsai review theater of all Judas Priest videos. That would be funny.
It would actually.
It would be funny, but it would kill me to say anything negative about their.
Oh, we can. Come on.
Come on. We're gonna make a couple of Blue Oyster Bar jokes.
No recommendations from Eric Adams, please. Thank you.
No more. All right, Lou, what do you think about this album?
It's my number 10 favorite Judas Priest album.
Number 10.
Number 10. It's not in the top 5, but it's number 10. I think that they should be praised for their experimentation.
Yes.
Because, is it a metal album? No, that doesn't make it a bad album at all. I mean, if anything, I would consider it Priest doing hard rock with some of the better, I would say, better tracks or better songs of any experimental album out there. I mean, I love the songs Desert Plains and Solar Angels. I kind of wish I could go to an air show one day because there's always the air show at Jones Beach. I would love to see the planes flying to Solar Angels and doing like a crazy show to that. That would be cool.
Instead of rock you like a hurricane for the 365,000th time.
Kill me now, please.
Thank
Scorpions are better
you
with
guys.
Uli
You know, I have to
anyways.
do an air show in September, right? By the way, Great Smoky Mountains Air Show at McGee Tyson Air National Guard Base. I'll be working that. Yay me. So guess what I'm going to be listening to?
Very
Rock
nice.
you like a hurricane.
Again, I emphasize, Greg, and I'm glad you agree with me. They were better with Uli. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
But heading out to the highway, I mean, killer song and goes over great live. I like Don't Go and I like Hot Rock, and even though I think the videos are god awful.
well, I like the songs too, but
Yeah,
you
they're good songs. Hot Rockin', the only thing that hurts it for me is just the lyrics.
it's dopey, but again, it's like that is
It's
better than Motley Crue's best song.
okay,
it's-
Grant. But Rob Halford is a very intelligent man. Okay,
Mhm.
nobody's mistaken Nikki Sixx for a member of Mensa. That's my point.
I know that, but again, you
No.
also have to consider that the label gave them not an exuberant amount, but I mean enough that they could record in Spain, and they said write us hit singles. Let's face facts. We could accuse bands of selling out all we want. If you're signed to a label, you're contractually obligated to deliver for the label. So, you know, is this a pop metal album or a hard rock album? Yes, it is. They were trying to get radio play. I don't fault them for it. You know?
No, and it still has an integrity to it and soul, unlike Hysteria. But
Yeah.
Even if I hated the album, which I don't, I would still give them credit for trying something new.
Yeah.
Think about 1981. They could have easily done British Steel 2. And let's face it, it probably would have sold a shitload ton more than Point of Entry. But they chose not to do that. I mean, if this was their idea of hit singles, it's incredible. Because other than Heading Out to the Highway, the songs have hooks, but they're not exactly Aria Speedwagon. So, yeah.
I also loved Elected Part 2. I mean All the Way. That was pretty good. You guys say that song reminds you of Aerosmith. That reminded me of Elected from Alice Cooper.
No,
I heard a lot of sweet emotion in it. I didn't think of Elected.
No, that
Because I'm
got a lot of
I was-
electric. So sorry, Lou.
Florida intelligence, Manny. Anyway,
Oh,
running joke from before. Running joke
Hey
from
yo,
before.
you be nice about our North American
Manny,
Australia.
te
okay?
quiero, mi amigo. Love you, man. Anyways, what was I getting at? Oh yeah,
You
no,
mean
but-
before he got sidetracked by America's Wang?
It's
um,
a boy.
I was expecting Manny to come in with "We prefer the Sunshine State."
that,
Oh,
Simpsons
that's good.
joke.
That's good.
Yeah,
but anyway, though, I do love the album, and I think it's important to recognize that in 1981, when this came out, look at the other albums that came out along with it at the time. For those about to rock, we salute you. High and Dry. One of my personal favorites, The Wild, the Willing, and the Innocent from UFO.
MSG's second album.
Yes, MSG. Thank you. It holds up with that. Now, if you notice, I didn't throw Killers in there from Iron Maiden because to me that album,
No, but
it's deserving of its own island. But if you compare,
a better example would probably be Rainbow, Difficult to Cure. Anyway,
yeah. So if you think about the albums that came out in 1981, as opposed to what preceded it the year before, it fits, in my opinion.
it definitely does.
So yeah, I mean, I give Priest all the credit in the world for being as experimentative as they were. I love it. I think it's a killer record. I really think it's the dark horse of the Priest discography.
It's the Klaus Kinski of Judas Priest albums. Fuck you! I do what I want.
Pretty much.
All right. Moving right along, Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind. The fourth album released May of 1983. First album to feature Nickel McBrain on drums. The song "To Tame a Land" was originally going to be called Dune after the novel, but after seeking
Frank
permission from
Herbert's an asshole.
yeah, basically, he said he doesn't like rock bands, particularly heavy metal rock bands, and especially bands like Iron Maiden. So they were forced to change the name for that. And also at the beginning of the 6-track Still Life, the band included a hidden message which could only be understood by playing the song backwards. This was a joke and intended swing back at the critics who had accused Iron Maiden of being satanic.
Yeah.
The backwards message consists of drummer Nico McBrain mimicking actor John Bird's impression of Idi Amin.
Idi Amin. Yeah.
Thank you.
The cannibalistic dictator from what country?
I don't know.
Mm.
But
Hold on.
he's uttering the following phrase. What ho said the ting with the 3 bonds, don't meddle with things you don't
Uganda.
understand. Don't meddle with things you don't understand. Followed by a belch. The phrase itself is taken from the satirical album The Collective Broadcast of Idi Amin. How was it you say it again?
Idi Amin.
Idi Amin.
Idi Amin. All right. So anyway, I always felt this album was a little weak compared to the previous 3, where the first half of the album is almost perfect, but then it starts to fall on the second half. But I might have changed my mind on that a bit after listening to it for the show. Where Eagles Dare, we get our introduction to Nico right off the bat with his drum intro. Totally different drumming style from Cliff Burr, but he's an excellent fit with the direction they're starting to go in. Clive, what I said, Cliff? I'm sorry.
Cliff.
Yes.
I'm half awake here. So anyway, the song itself is right up there with the top Maiden songs of all time. One of the best opening tracks as well in their discography. Revelations, another top Maiden song, but unfortunately this doesn't get much attention being played live, which sucks. This is a little similar to Children of the Damned with the acoustic parts going back to the heavy guitars. Bruce's vocals are very melodic in the verses. There's no chorus, but just everything works in the song. Some really great guitar work and guitar solos. Flight of Icarus, another top Maiden song. It's very repetitive throughout, but the song tells a story lyrically, and the music flows with it, and the solos at the end make it intense. Great song. Die With Your Boots On. Now, this song I either could give or take, but today I'm taking it. It's upbeat and a little too happy sounding musically, which is why it kind of clashes with the lyrics to me a bit, but it's a good song. The chorus just lacks a bit. The Trooper, a song that every musician loves to play. It's like the metal equivalent to Stairway to Heaven, and who can blame them, because it's an awesome song and a huge staple in the set list to this day. The funny thing about the song, it's almost as if the chorus is just the oh part, and everybody knows when that's coming and they all sing it. Still Life. Now, I like this song. I love the intro and the verses. Everything fits really well and kind of reminds me of something that could have been on the first 2 albums, but the chorus kind of ruins it a bit with the catchiness of the rest of the song. I can look past that. Quest for Fire, Skip. The song should have been much better as a more thought out instrumental. The lyrics are just too wordy, almost like Bruce didn't know how to sing them properly in the verses. Chorus is okay, just not executed well enough and shouldn't have made it on the album. Sun and Steel, this song is a bit better, but like Quest for Fire, it seemed like they could have worked it out with the lyrics a little bit better, make them flow more, especially in the chorus where lyrics seem to have been lazy and just looking for some words that rhymed. And To Tame a Land, good ending to an album. I like the Egyptian guitar stuff going on throughout the song. The song, though, basically led to something better on the next album, Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Manny.
Okay, my thoughts. This is actually the very first Iron Maiden album I bought as a new release. First one I heard was Number of the Beast. First one I bought was this. When I first heard it, I was 13. I thought Nico McBrain was one of the greatest drummers ever. Since then, I feel that Clive was a bit better, but very different styles. I have to agree with your assessment on the second half of the album, Wayne. I don't think it's as strong. Quest for Fire, they can stick that song up their ass because it's terrible. Sun and Steel is okay. Revelation.
Is that the first song about dinosaurs?
Quest for Fire is.
Quest for Fire is based on a book based on a movie where it had Daryl Hannah was in a role where they're literally cavemen looking.
Yeah, they don't
What the hell is
speak
wrong with you
anything.
guys,
They just make
though?
grunt sounds.
What?
Yeah.
I mean,
they just,
Christopher Fire might be wordy. It might be about something silly like that, but it still rocks and it's a pretty damn good song. But that fucking jingle jangle sunlight falling on your steel, Sun and Steel kills the whole album.
It
It's
does.
okay.
You know,
I got you on
Okay is
that
a
one, Greg. Give me
B-side,
time on
maybe.
that one. I'll come off the top
Sun
rope
and
on that
Steel
one.
should have been cut off. I know Steve wasn't big on having covers on the albums, but Sun and Steel should have been cut off of this, and they should have put on the Montrose cover of I've Got the Fire.
well, didn't they also record Cross-Eyed Mary too at that time?
Yeah,
No.
actually,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
the
would
next
rather
one.
have Cross-Eyed Mary, come to think of it.
I like the album a lot. I don't like it as much as I did when I was a kid, but it's also my memory's kind of clouded by the fact that it's the first time I saw him live when I was 13. With Quiet Riot opening, second time I saw Quiet Riot at that age. But overall, man, I used to love that album, Flight of Icarus. I thought Bruce Dickinson was an incredible vocalist when I was a kid. I still do, but I just didn't hear anyone sing like that back then. Deal was the closest, and Deal sang way different than he did.
Mhm.
I just thought they were one of the greatest bands of all time as a kid. I still love Iron Maiden, but I don't have much to say but to add more than you did, Wayne, other than it's a great album, but looking back, it's a little uneven because of the second half. That's basically my take on it.
Rick. It's on mute.
Hang on, I had to unmute myself. Well, Wayne, you covered most of it. Damn it, cat, get the hell. Sorry. Cat's rubbing up on mine. Had
Oh,
to
nice.
get it off, but I love Where Eagles Dare. That's like I can totally see why Nico in that History of Iron Maiden documentary is always doing that because it's great. Although if there is one, I could only pick one song that doesn't have Clive on it that I would love to hear him do, it would have been that, because he could have done something super awesome with that. What Nico does is good, but Clive just has that more aggressive style. But that song is a total classic. Revelations I do like a lot, but I think some of his vocals are kind of awkward in a few parts on it. But the instrumental parts of it are definitely my favorite. That one has one of the best solo sections on the whole album.
Oh, yeah.
And then so does Flight of Icarus, which is probably my second favorite song on here. But with especially Flight of Icarus and the Trooper on this, and even some of the other songs, much like with what Priest was doing and why I paired these together, you can definitely hear the more American influences flowing into the structure of the songs, because I believe Flight of Icarus was an even bigger single in the US than Number of the Beast or Run to the Hills was at the time.
It was considered their biggest single in the United States, which is why they didn't play it after the Power Slave tour anymore.
What?
Well, you got to see them do it on Legacy of the Beast, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But it's a great song. You know,
Right.
there's nothing wrong with what they were doing with their sound. Yeah, they fumble a little bit on here, but for the most part, I think all the songs are strong. Most of them are great staples, you know, of their show. And Adrian and Dave are great on here as always, except for Sun and Steel. That's really just the one blemish to me. With Die With Your Boots On, it doesn't bother me as much, because while the chorus is brighter, the guitars match it, so it
Right.
still fits. The second half of the album, Still Life, I know that's like one of the most favorite album cuts for a lot of people. I like it, but a little too repetitive on parts. Not my favorite song from them, but still a really good one. And Quest for Fire, other than him trying to sing too much too fast, it's a little lower, a little bit more plotting, but I like the song. And To Tame a Land, I love.
Yeah.
Great drum work from Nico on there. Really cool bass line on that as well.
James. He's got a smile on his face.
So
Yeah, James doesn't like Where Eagles Dare.
no.
Or
So
Revelation.
okay. Here's my problem with Where Eagles Dare. I like the I like the subject matter. I like the chorus, but everything else falls apart. I don't like how the verses work, and I just for some reason the song I just don't like it.
I don't hear it at all. It just confuses me because I listened to it earlier and I'm trying to just hear some of what you were hearing. I can. It sounds like it flows perfectly to me.
It doesn't to me, but that's just me. Hey, these are my opinions, you know?
Right.
Revelations. Why? It has good bits, but oh my God, they have regressed. It has some great bits. The guitar solos, everything great, but they regressed. Fly the Icarus. This is groovy. This is a good song. Why was this? Why? The first two songs, it drives me nuts. Die with your boots on. Something feels off. The lyrics or the beat. Something doesn't feel like it's flowing correctly. The Trooper, another classic. I think Carmageddon every time I hear it because that's what I heard a lot while playing the game. It's true. Still Life, better than what was the first two songs in my opinion.
Interesting.
Quest for Fire. I believe Still Life could have been the first thing on there, other than Where Are Eagles There. I think they could have worked on that a little bit better. Quest for Fire, okay song. I like the lyrics because it's something different. Talking about cavemen. Sun and Steel, very generic and uninspired. I'm talking boy band sounds with unattractive men playing it. All right.
Well, James, that's all I'm gonna say.
You didn't say I was wrong. You never said I was wrong.
Maiden goes Menudo.
They did. I mean, Menudo would have done better with this.
Anyway, go ahead.
The Monkees would have done better with this. Anyway, Tame a Land, another repetitive instrumental. No, they're singing in this one.
Jesus,
I don't like Iron Maiden instrumentals.
Apparently,
okay,
or Iron Maiden in general.
It's not okay. So wait. You're hearing these things and hearing my critiques. Everything else is fine. It's for me. I never caught the hype of Iron Maiden, so maybe that's my problem. They don't connect with me. But
you're not a fan.
I'm not a fan. But there's some good stuff in there, and then there's some really bad stuff with them. And just for some reason, the instrumentals, I absolutely hate.
Well, there was no instrumentals on his album, so
No,
Yeah,
but
that last song.
I think he
was
means the
pretty much-
instrumentation.
Yeah. That's how I put it. Is this one of the repetitive instrumentals with keeping time with fancier ways? No, there's singing involved. This is what I meant.
Lou.
My number 5 favorite Iron Maiden album. Where Eagles There is a killer opener. James, I love you, but you're wrong. But this album actually had a lot of significance for me growing up, especially in the summer of '87. I made a copy of it on my cassette player. No, not 8-track. My brother had it on cassette. I copied the album, put it on a Memorex tape, and listened to that on my Walkman the entire time I was in Greece that year, and just loved it. Side one itself is just all killer, no filler. Like I said, Where Eagles There, Revelations, Flight of Icarus, and Die With Your Boots On. Turn to side two. Loved The Trooper then, but like Living After Midnight and Breaking the Law, if they never played it live again, it's not going to bother me. I'm just burnt on it. Still Life, really good album cut. The only track on the album that it's my least favorite, but I still like it, is Quest for Fire. I agree with whoever said it before that he's just singing too fast on that. It worked on Where Eagles Dare. Here it's just like I think Harris just needed filler, but it was good filler. I like Sun and Steel. Love that song. As someone who's into like fantasy and like dragons and sword play and shit like that. I go to Ren fairs every year. I do love that song
and shit like that, which is what it's actually about. But it's just a bad song. Music.
Yeah, I like that shit too. I freaking read all the Game of Thrones books. I still think that song sucks.
Well, I read the book Quest for Fire, and I think that song still sucks. Anyway, go ahead.
That's fine. But I love it. You're right. It was more about samurai. I don't know why I was thinking dragons and shit, but I hear killed your first man at 16. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool
Ronnie
shit.
Keebler wrote about dragons. Anyway, keep going.
Guys, I'm only on 2 hours sleep too. Anyway, but To Tame a Land, love it. Wish that they would play it live.
Mhm.
I mean, and I've heard some really good covers of this. One was by Dream Theater on the last album that they did with Portnoy, and another one, it was on an Iron Maiden tribute called The Call to Irons, released by Dwell Records back in 99 or 98. The Doom band Morjan covered it. And it was heavy as hell. And they actually took a snippet of the movie Doom with Kyle MacLachlan, where he yells, I think the line, "Father, the sleeper has awakened." Is that the line? Have anyone seen the movie Dune?
Yes,
anyway.
I have sat through it on 2 non-consecutive occasions, and I believe that is the line.
Right. So
But
it actually
listen to
works
the
well.
song, read the books. You don't need to see the movie. I love you, David Lynch, but the studio destroyed it.
They
Yeah,
did.
Greg, were you being paid to watch this movie? Anyway, go ahead.
But
Have you seen the new one?
No, my son loves it, but I've never seen it. So
No, the original, I was actually just really high, and I wasn't going to reach under the couch for the remote. So
I think that's how most people enjoyed it.
or they're incarcerated. Anyway, go ahead.
But an excellent epic to close, in my opinion, an excellent album. So yeah, I realize I'm kind of in the minority here because I do like Sun and Steel, and I really do want to try the sake infused beer Sun and Steel one day, but there's no beer distributors around here that distribute Trooper beer unless you go to Duff's in Brooklyn.
Let me show you. I did get one. If I still have it.
What did you did it taste good?
Yeah, no, it wasn't that one. I got the Trooper beer, which is right here.
Mm-hmm.
I kept the bottle, and I live in Florida, keep in mind. So I got the Cannibal Corpse beer from Angry Chair. So there you go.
Oh, I need that beer when I get down there.
Actually, you get down there, you look me up. All right. Together. Hey, God, I like the album too, but do you think Greg, do you think it holds up as well as Number of the Beast?
I think it holds up better than Number of the Beast, actually. I think Number of the Beast definitely has its place cemented as a classic album and
Right.
a breakthrough record. But I think this one is stronger song-wise and better put together.
And you, Wayne?
The Number of the Beast, no.
Really?
Maybe mixed wise, like production wise, yes, but song wise, no. I like Number of the Beast more.
Same here, but I do agree the production on this album is very, very, very. It's excellent. I don't know if they had more money or what was going on, but it to this day it sounds great to listen to, whether on record.
Yeah, the guitars are a lot more clear. Drums are clear too. Everything's just a lot clearer on this one.
Yeah, definitely.
I will admit Nico's drumming on this album is very, very good. War Eagles there, perfect example.
Nico or Dave Holland?
Oh, Nico by far.
Even I will say that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Hey,
Christ.
what? How about John Hinch? How about that?
Hey, what if Nico was in
for Dave Holland? I'd have to give it to Dave.
What if Nico was in Judas Priest?
That would
It wouldn't have worked. Well,
No.
Actually, it might have because he did play a little differently when he was with Trust.
Yeah, he played like Dave Holland did at Trust.
Yeah. That's a very interesting question, actually.
I think I'm so used to Nico's drumming along to Steve Harris's Gallop at this point. Like it's ingrained in my head right now. I don't think I could hear him with any other bassist.
I couldn't either. Actually, I agree with you. It's funny when I was younger and I first bought this album, I thought Nico was a way better drummer than Clive was. I look back.
Interesting.
I don't know if he's better or not, but they're certainly very different.
Technically, from a technical standpoint, yeah, Nico's better, but the attitude and the feel Clive had, you can't teach, and that's where he becomes more interesting.
Yeah, maybe that's
Clive definitely had his own style about him.
Yeah, he was Clive was good for his era, and Nico was good for his era. I think.
Well,
I don't see
Nico
Clive really
flat out
doing a
tell
lot of
ya.
the stuff that Nico did. Was that
Nico will flat out tell you he thinks Clive's a better drummer
Right.
than he. Yeah.
right?
but Nico, the way he hit those, I'm not comparing him to John Bonham. John Bonham had that swing, but every drummer wanted to get that big, hard hitting sound. Nico definitely got that.
Yeah.
Oh, he definitely did, and he's excellent on this.
Yeah.
He did say if Bonham could play as well as you did with a single kick drum, then I could do Where Eagles Dare on a single kick drum. So I thought that was cool. And what I find it, sorry, go ahead, Manny.
No, is that a single kick drum on that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
he does. He only used the double kick on one song on Dance of Death, and he said he hated it. And he said the song needed it, but that was the only time he ever used double kick.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna have to rethink what a high valuation of him as a drummer. I mean, I always thought he was a great drummer, but that's pretty impressive.
I think it's
Anyway.
interesting that you guys mentioned that John Bonham had swing, because if you asked, I know that we've spoken about this before, James, one of your favorites, Ginger Baker, did say, I love the way he smiles sideways every time I mention his name. Ginger Baker said, who hated everybody that wasn't him, did say that John Bonham had technique, but he had no swing. I was just like, John Bonham had no swing?
I like Ginger Baker, but what an ass.
This is true.
All you have to do is listen to In Through the Outdoor, if nothing else, album. Anyway. So
Well, okay, wait. I don't think you understand his criticism a little bit. It's not swing's a little bit of an interpretive term. He can swing, however, does he have the natural swing in the groove? Which I don't. I mean, I kind of agree with Ginger a little bit with that situation, but I mean, it isn't like someone who can just swing. There are times when you can put a little pizzazz into.
Well, Ginger Baker was a trained jazz drummer, where John Bonham was self-taught, really a blues guy. Back to that, but
which is probably the reason why he said that.
Yeah, well, that's Ginger Baker ass. But anyway, go ahead.
It does not. It does not keep him away from that. Absolutely.
Sometimes the lack of swing is okay. I mean, listen to Phil Collins on those 70s Genesis records. There wasn't really any swing to his playing, but I mean, listen to a song like Musical Box. He freaking kills the drums on that.
Absolutely, but that kind of drumming fits that music, what they were writing.
Yeah, it's more frantic, I guess, than swinging. So.
Oh yeah, that's a perfect description. Frantic is a very good description to describe that music.
Dave Holland, there's no franticism about him.
Yeah.
Frantic, tick, 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 tock.
Oh God, no.
All right. No. Judas Priest, British Steel. What are we gonna give that? I'm gonna give it a 7. Lou?
I'll give it an 8 just because of burnout factor.
Manny?
9.
Greg?
I would also give it a 7.
James?
Give it a 9.
All right. What's the other one? Point of entry. I will give it a 7. Lou?
9.
Manny?
8.
Greg?
9.
James?
7.
Wow. And Peace of Mind, I'm going to give that an 8. Lou?
10.
Wow. Manny?
8.
Greg?
9.5. As much as I like it and as many good memories as I have, it's got a couple flaws.
Still, that's high, man. James?
7.
Interesting. I believe Maiden won this one.
Really? I'm surprised.
I'm not trying to be the Russian judge.
No, I'm not that surprised. I mean, again,
Yeah, Maiden won this one.
it's like you were talking about, in some ways, 3 groundbreaking albums and 3 albums that
Yeah.
I'm really surprised though, because Maiden beat 2 Judas Priest albums. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, and to be honest, I mean, I understand numbers wise, they did beat it, but them 2 Priest albums paired together, I would probably say are stronger overall than Peace of Mind, as much as I love Peace of Mind.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, and I kind of agree. They're a little, if you're putting them together, I see that. But the thing with Iron Maidens, especially with Number of the Beast last week and Point of excuse me, whatever.
Peace of mind.
Peace of Mind. Sorry, Point of Entry, Peace of Mind. They all get kind of jimble jambled after a while. On their own, they are very strong albums. So, and I don't think, and that's the problem with Judas Priest. I don't think they have like the number of good songs compared to Iron Maiden. Number of good songs.
There's always more filler on their albums. Yeah,
there is. However, I do like Judas Priest's filler way more than I do like Iron Maiden's filler.
Generally, I'd have to agree with you on that. At least with a couple albums.
I don't really consider it by either bands really filling their albums up with filler. Not yet, anyway. We haven't gotten to that point yet, in my opinion. I mean, United is basically taking on the world we wrote. I guess you can count that as a filler. But over,
I mean, to me, honestly, that's how I feel about You Don't Have to Be Old to Be Wise.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I mean, you guys are scaring the unholy god out of me because you guys are saying like how bad these future albums are, and this is gonna get rougher and rougher for me.
I think James, you're gonna like the next two Judas Priest albums a lot, but I think when we get to
the following two after,
yeah. But when you get to Turbo, and I like Ram It Down, but I'm not. There's two ways to listen to music. As a fan, I can practically like anything, but the way we're listening to it critically, Ram It Down's, well, it's going to get hammered by me. I like it, but anyway, we haven't gotten to it, but there's so many problems with that album's lyrics, production, the drumming,
the patchwork nature of it in general.
Yeah.
It's just,
when we talk about that, I'm afraid that'll be the one album I'll probably hammer that worse than I do Turbo, because I don't mind Turbo. But anyway,
Turbo's more cohesive for sure.
Yeah, Ram It Down's just like thrown together kind of thing. Like,
yeah, and the drum. We'll get to it.
We've done it on the show once before, but we'll get to it with everybody here. What, Lou?
No, I was just saying it's just leftover tracks from Turbo, essentially.
Right.
So
pretty much.
Yep, except for two songs.
Yeah, you're right. But anyway.
All right, this was a lot of fun. I just ran a little bit longer than usual, but we had two really great albums here that we had talked a lot about. So I had a lot of fun doing this.
Three. I mean, really, all three of them are classics.
Yeah. So
this was a tough one to really come up with critical stuff.
Yeah. But good stuff. Lou, anything going on?
Yeah, after this, I think I'm going to bed. That's what's going on. Me crashing on my pillow. I had to reject them. I actually had to say no to a couple of guests just because work is very busy, but that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's always a good thing.
And I'm, very busy working on a project with you, which we won't discuss yet. So
yeah, we won't discuss that yet. Although I have to talk to you about that. I just talked to somebody. James, you got a new podcast going on.
I do. Thank you so much for asking.
Well, that's all the time that we have. Thanks for watching Rats Out. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
RatsOutReview.com. We'll
Go
see you
buy
next week.
No. Let James talk. I'm just
no. You're fine. You're fine. All right. So yes, I started a college football podcast off the Rocky Mountain Sports Network, and thank you guys for juicing it up a little bit. But it's I'm forgetting the name right off the top of my head because I'm tired as well. Thank you for that. But me and Caleb there, we're calling it No Huddle, and we're right now we're in preview season because training camps haven't started yet, but we'll be starting to do live shows very, very soon, just like this, except way shorter. But we're definitely going to be ramping up once the season starts, and I think it's fun. I think we're working some of the kinks out, but me and Caleb have some good chemistry there, and we like to joke around and talk college football. So if you guys want to see that, check out Rocky Mountain Sports Network and check out the No Huddle podcast.
Very cool. Very exciting.
Congrats, James.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Yep. Good luck with that. And yeah, that's it for us. We will be back next week with 2 more Maiden. Well, actually, is it Maiden versus Judas Priest? Just
It's Power
two
Slave
Priest albums versus Power
again.
Slave.
Yeah.
When are we going to stop the 2 Priest albums?
Yeah,
I think-
Greg, we're gonna stop having to
I,
listen to 3
I think
albums.
that's it.
With
I think that's it.
Turbo and Somewhere in Time. That's the last time I pair 2 Priests together. For the later ones, it's 2 Maidens because the output switches
Yeah. Okay. All right.
in terms of volume. But you know, Screaming Defenders, that was when they were biggest, and it really kind of melds together. And Power Slave was so massive, it went on for 2 years. So
Yeah, that might even be another long show. We'll see when we get to it next week. Join us in the chat room right here, and we will, talk about your chats and questions that you give us. And hit subscribe, ratsaladreview.com, and we'll see you.
Like, comment, subscribe. Get it right.
Where
there,
Eagles
Wayne.
Dares rules. Don't listen to James.
Goodbye.
Demo.
And what?
Huh?
All
Oh,
right.
Dimoni.